Hola amigos, bienvenidos a Guadalajara. So good they named it twice. Guadalajara, located in the Mexican state of Jalisco, is the birthplace of Mexico's most popular images, mariachi and tequila. Including its neighboring cities of Zapopan and Tlaquepaque, this is Mexico's third largest metropolitan area with a population of 5 million people and Mexico's second largest economy after Mexico City. Nicknamed the Silicon Valley of Mexico, it is the country's main producer of software and electronics, housing companies like GE, IBM, Hewlett-Packard, and many more. Guadalajara is a major player as far as cities go, with stunning churches, UNESCO World Heritage sites, amazing food scene, and unbeatable nightlife. After a week exploring the city and its surroundings, Guadalajara quickly became one of my favorite Mexican cities. Hi, I'm Alfie. After a year of heartache and depression with COVID, my father dying, and my relationship over, I quit my teaching job of 15 years in order to travel, hoping to find some joy in life again. Come along on the ride with me south of the border, where I share my passion for history, language, and create travel guides for you to use on your adventures. This is Gringo Interrupted. I arrived in Guadalajara late in the afternoon from Philadelphia with a layover in Miami, but there are tons of direct flights from other US cities. I had no trouble grabbing an Uber at the airport, and it's about 30 minutes to the historical center of the city, where I would definitely recommend staying. I chose the Hotel Francés, mainly because of its beautiful colonial architecture and history. Built in 1610, some say it was the first hotel in the Western Hemisphere. I loved the old-timey elevator, that is, when it worked, where instead of information on the building's history, on display are scenes from a 1980s Charles Bronson film that were shot here. The room was tiny but clean and comfortable. The staff was really great, and breakfast was served in the hotel restaurant downstairs. While the shower head could use some fixing, hot water was plenty. But the best part was the balcony, where I could watch the horse-drawn carriages pass by down below. I took a short walk, grabbed a quick bite, and got ready for my first day exploring the city. First day in Guadalajara. Let me finish chewing. It is a beautiful day, and I'm starting off with a cappuccino and a chocolate hazelnut cookie, and I'm going to go through the cathedral right now to go check it out. Looks beautiful from the outside. Guadalajara. The city's showstopper is the Catedral Metropolitana de Guadalajara. To appreciate the cathedral's beauty, view it from each of the 4 public squares it borders: the Plaza de Armas, Plaza de la Liberación, Rotunda de los Jaliscienses Ilustres, and finally the Plaza Guadalajara, where you'll find the cathedral's main entrance. I recommend coming back after sunset, when the cathedral lights up against the backdrop of moonlight. Beginning in 1561, the cathedral's Spanish Renaissance-style construction and famous neo-Gothic spires have both been damaged and destroyed over the years by fire and several earthquakes. And the interior? It certainly doesn't disappoint. Crowds of tourists gather around the 300-year-old mummified corpse of a little girl known as Santa Inocencia. The infamous legend states that the girl's father, a non-believer, had forbidden her from practicing Catholicism. But the girl disobeyed and secretly befriended a nun, joined the church, and received Holy Communion. When her father found out, he stabbed her to death in an act of fury. Her remains were eventually moved here, where she is honored as a martyr. In the basement of the cathedral, a Gothic crypt houses the remains of 3 cardinals and several former bishops of the diocese. Head back out to the plaza, where you'll undoubtedly encounter street performers like this one, decked out in Day of the Dead attire. My God, this weather is beautiful. The sky is so blue and it's so warm. It's like 75. Love it. Just a few steps away from the cathedral, across the Plaza de Armas, is the Palacio del Gobierno, the main seat of the government of the state of Jalisco. Built in 1774, the palace alone is impressive. However, it's the main staircase that brings tourists here. Painted above and around the staircase is the famous mural by local artist José Clemente Orozco, featuring Mexico's most famous revolutionary hero, Miguel Hidalgo, the founding father of the country. Hidalgo is shown brandishing a torch in his fist while the masses below struggle against the enemies of fascism and communism. Head up to the former Hall of Congress to see another Orozco mural, this one featuring Hidalgo and Benito Juarez, Mexico's first indigenous president. Across the street in the Plaza de Liberación, you can't miss the stunning Teatro Degollado, Guadalajara's 19th century neoclassical theater and home to the city's Philharmonic. Above the Corinthian columns, a pediment depicts Apollo and the 9 Muses. The theater is only open to visitors on Monday and Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m., and I unfortunately never got a chance to see inside. Okay, on my way to a very famous cemetery that supposedly has a lot of ghost stories, and also a tree growing out of a grave of someone who is believed to be the vampire of Guadalajara. And there's a story behind that too. So I'm heading there now. It's about a 15-minute walk from El Centro. So yeah, let's see what I can find out. Okay, so I bought the tour. There's an hour tour, so I can hear all the little tidbits, and then give you guys that information as well. The tour starts in about 10 minutes, so I'm just standing out here waiting. This 19th century cemetery, the Panteón de Belen, was built next to a hospital of the same name in response to the large number of deaths due to famine and diseases of the time like cholera. It once housed the city's most illustrious figures, but they were later moved to the center of the city, which we'll visit later. The cemetery was divided into two, a common area and an area reserved for the wealthy. While it is historically significant to the city, it is the legends and ghost stories that people come for. The tour started with the grave of the Scottish couple, husband and wife Joseph and Jean Johnson, who provided help to Guadalajara's poor in the late 1800s. Today, they are revered as saints, their grave becoming an altar where visitors leave gifts with the hope that their prayers will be answered.
¿Sí? El señor Joseph Johnston muere de lepra porque ayudaba mucho a las personas con esta enfermedad, se contagió, y su esposa Jean June muere a los 4 meses, 29 días después.
Our tour guide told us of a woman with late-stage cancer who was cured after praying to the couple, and she brought the receipts.
Ella vino y trajo sus 2 fotografías de antes y después para que vea la gente que realmente sí son muy milagrosos. ¿Sí?
Walking through the children's area where people have claimed to see young spirits running around, the toy-covered tomb of a 10-year-old boy nicknamed Nachito stands out amongst the graves. Legend has it that the boy, who in life was deathly afraid of the dark, always had to sleep with 2 lit torches outside his bedroom window. One night in 1882, a storm came through the city and extinguished the torches, leaving little Nachito in the dark. His parents found him dead the next morning, having died of a heart attack, undoubtedly due to his extreme fear. He was buried here, but the next day his coffin was found mysteriously exhumed and positioned next to the hole where he had been buried. They buried his coffin again, only to find it outside again the next day. Believing their dead son to still be afraid of the dark and not wanting to be underground, the parents built a stone coffin to rest above the ground. People leave toys for the boy. Anyone who removes a toy will be met with tragedy, and many claim they have seen a balloon hovering above the grave, as if held by a small child. This 200-year-old tree, known as the vampire tree, tells the tale of the legend of the vampire of Guadalajara. In the mid-1800s, small animals and later babies and children were mysteriously found dead, marked by 2 tiny puncture holes, their bodies seemingly drained of blood. The hysterical masses believed it to be a vampire, suspecting a strange, tall European man who often walked the streets at night. The townfolk captured him, brought him to the cemetery, and, as one would do to kill a vampire, drove a wooden stake through his heart and then poured cement over his corpse. Months later, the wooden stake pierced the concrete and started to grow into this tree. It is believed that one day the tree will completely break through the concrete slab, allowing the vampire to escape and seek revenge on the people of Guadalajara. There were a lot more ghost stories and really cool history on this tour, including the Egyptian-style chapel, specifically designed with a precarious staircase so that those entering would be forced to look down at their feet, keeping their heads down in respect for the dead. that was super cool. That was my favorite thing so far in Guadalajara because I love that kind of stuff. I'm walking now to the Instituto Cultural de Cabañas, which is about a 25-minute walk. And this is supposed to be the museum. There's more famous murals by Orozco. So that's where I'm headed now. In the Plaza Iberoamerica, with its notable bronze chair statues, stands the UNESCO World Heritage Site Hospicio Cabañas. It's named after the bishop Juan Ruiz de Cabañas, who, in 1791, founded the complex as a hospital and orphanage, housing some 500 children as well as the elderly, handicapped, and invalids. Designed by architect Manuel Tolsa in the New Classical style, its passageways and arcades were meant to allow its residents to roam around freely, while its 23 courtyards provided open air intended to promote healing. The hospital lasted until 1980, when the Cabañas Cultural Institute took it over as a museum, displaying various types of art, primarily by Tapatíos. But the building's main claim to fame is Orozco's magnus opus, the mural El Hombre de Fuego, the Man of Fire. Between 1936 and 1939, Orozco completed 53 frescoes covering the walls and ceiling. Representing a new world forged out of the fire of a chaotic world, the dark figures with anguished faces are finally freed from the prejudices of race and nationality. It is Orozco's belief in an ideal future for humans. Time to eat. I'm heading now to Mercado Libertad, which is supposedly a gigantic indoor market. And yeah, I'm gonna eat some lunch there. At over 430,000 square feet, Mercado Libertad is the largest indoor market in Latin America. There are approximately 3,000 vendors over 3 levels, selling everything from clothes, electronics, music, crafts, jewelry, food, and much more. But I'm here to try Guadalajara's most famous dish, torta ahogada, or drowned sandwich. The torta ahogada is a sandwich filled with pork and onion that is drowned in a hot salsa, hence the name drowned sandwich. The story goes that it was invented by accident when a street vendor accidentally dropped a customer's roll in a bucket of salsa. The customer still ate it, and it became a hit. Gracias, muchas gracias. Not really sure how to eat this. The bread is soaked and it's kind of falling apart, so. That's good. It's very messy, but it's good. I like it. That was really good, but I need to find some Tums. This is delicious. Back near the cathedral, you'll find this lovely site, Rotonda de los Jaliscienses Ilustres, filled with statues honoring famous people of Jalisco who are also buried here. Originally, they were buried in the Panteón de Belen, the cemetery we visited earlier. Some of the notable figures here are, of course, artist Jose Clemente Orozco, 20th century architect Luis Barragan, and one woman, Rita Perez de Moreno, insurgent and heroine of the Mexican War of Independence. It also seems to be the place for graduation pictures. So I am standing in this long line for La Chata de Guadalajara, which I read is a great place to eat, but I'm probably going to be standing here for like an hour, but that's okay, because I bet it's going to be worth it. Well, I waited an hour in that line, and this place looks really good. I'm super excited, and I'm starving. I ordered platillo Jalisciense, which is Jalisco plate. This is the state of Jalisco, and this is a traditional plate of Jalisco that comes with fried chicken, I think an enchilada, a sope, and some other things, papas fritas, French fries. So we'll see how it is. Yeah, I can't wait to eat. Everyone's staring at me. That was really good. Definitely worth the wait. One of the enchiladas that came on the plate, actually it only came with one enchilada, but had picadillo in it, which is like ground beef that's like sweetened, and it was so good. So yeah, really good. I recommend La Chata de Guadalajara. That's a wrap on day one. Stay tuned for day 2, where I visit the breathtaking Templo Expiatorio, explore the trendy neighborhood Americana, check out Zapopan, where I accidentally crash a wedding, and take my 45-year-old ass to the club.